You're watching BCTV. We're all about Brantford. You're watching BCTV, Brantford Government Television, a service of Brantford Community Television. This program is brought to you in part through the support of the town of Brantford.
There's an internal thing going on. It's just a joke.
Okay. Representative Walker. Jim, Representative Walker, let's go. We're going to start the meeting.
Here's Holmes.
He was joining us.
Yeah.
How much do I got to pay?
Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is a special meeting. The R.T.M. will be convened on Wednesday, July 24th, 2019, at 8 p.m. at the Brantford Fire Headquarters, 45 North Main Street, to consider and act upon the following matters. Will everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, the town clerk will swear in two new members of the RTM. Representative Austin and Representative Kelly. Representative Austin will be going to Public Services, and Representative Kelly will be going to Admin Services to replace Representative Ingraham.
Welcome. Patricia Austin, Sean Kelly. You solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Connecticut, so long as you continue a citizen thereof, and that you will faithfully discharge the laws of the town charter and the duties of representative town meeting for District 1 and District 4 to the best of your abilities, so help you God. Congratulations.
Okay, item number 1, roll call.
Representative Edelman. Representative Alphone.
Here.
Representative Anderson.
Here.
Representative Austin.
Representative Austin. Okay.
Representative Black. Here. Already. Representative Conklin. Representative Dunbar. Here. Representative Erlinger. Here. Representative Flanagan. Representative Greenberg. Representative Healy.
Present.
Representative Henschel. Representative Ingraham.
Here.
Representative Jackson.
Here.
Representative Leonard.
Here.
Representative Lombardi. Here. Representative Preet.
Here.
Representative Ricchio.
Here.
Representative Sember.
Here.
Representative Smo. Scheide. Here. Representative Stepanik.
Here.
Representative Sullivan.
Here.
Representative Torelli. Representative Traw.
Here.
Representative Toohill.
Here.
Representative Walker.
Here.
Representative Wells.
Here.
And Representative Kelly.
Here.
Okay. Item number 2, receptions of communications, reports of committees, and citizens' petitions. I have none. You have any? None? Okay. Moving on, Representative Leonard.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. R&O met on 4 items on June 18th, and with the moderator's permission, I'd like to address all 4 of those items within one report. 4 separate reports, but at
One motion.
time.
Yes, go ahead.
The items that we met on tonight's agenda are here somewhere. Our agenda item numbers are 3, 4, 6, and 9. On items 3 and 4, the committee voted unanimously to approve and send to town council for review. We have not gotten that review back yet, so I would ask for a motion to re-refer. And on items 6 and 9, The committee voted unanimously to re-refer, and I would put that in the form of a motion before this body that they be re-referred.
So your motion is to refer all items number 3, 4, 6, and 9 in one motion, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, there's a second on that?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of re-referring item number 3, 4, 6, and 9 signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The items are re-referred. Item number 5, to consider and if appropriate, approve a license agreement between the API Sycamore LLC for a license to construct a paved driveway and consider if appropriate, maintain a lawn and other suitable and appropriate landscaping along the driveway in the adjoining town right-of-way off Sycamore Way. Representative Alphone.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. American Polyfilm has purchased a lot on Sycamore Way to construct a new warehouse. Just north of the site, the town has a stub of road, which it currently owns. This agreement will allow for a license on that property to allow them to construct a driveway for easier truck access onto their property where they're building the warehouse. This agreement will allow, in the future, if the town decides to connect their stub of road currently to the driveway that they're going to build, API, it'll allow the town to build that road at no cost to the town. API will maintain the property currently, and I believe that's it. This was approved in committee with a motion to 7-0. I'm sorry, this was approved in committee with a vote to 7-0.
Motion to approve this item. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Item number 7, to consider a request from the First Selectman to fund the purchase of the property at 16 Summer Island Road. Representative Alphone.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. 16 Summer Island Road contains a earthen berm which helps protect Summer Island Road during heavy storms from flooding. The property was appraised for $23,000. The First Selectman has requested $25,000 to purchase the property with $2,000 for incidental cost. Purchasing the property will ensure the berm will remain in place for the future and continue to protect the road from flooding. This was approved in committee with a 7-0 vote. I'd put that forward to the full body.
Motion on the floor to approve this item. Any discussion on the motion? Representative Black.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Moderator, perhaps to the First Selectman, I know this is, oh, go ahead, Mike. Through you, Mr. Moderator, I think to the First Selectman, are we increasing the town budget? I understood this might be coming out of funds that we previously borrowed for School Ground Road. We don't really have an appropriation line for this, which is a little unusual.
It's coming from
Undesignated fund balance. So are we, should we also have a motion to increase the town budget if we're expending it in this year?
It's coming from revenue, I believe,
Was it open space?
No.
Yeah, I just, as a, I believe we should have we usually have a motion to increase the budget whenever there's a, whether it's regardless of the source. Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion on the motion to approve this item? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The item carries. Item number 8, to consider and if appropriate, approve initiation of condemnation proceedings with respect of Crescent Bluff. Representative Alphone.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. At the request of the First Selectman, I'd like to make a motion to table this item. There's current negotiations going on that are going well. Tabling it will allow us to come back to bring it back to the R.T.M. if needed, but at the moment, we do not need to proceed with this.
Is there a second on that?
I'll second it.
Representative Brock has seconded. Any discussion on this item?
Everybody second that one.
Hearing none. All those in favor of tabling this item signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is tabled. Item 10, to act on a request from the Finance Director to close out the School Ground Road Bridge project and approve the following resolution. resolution declaring School Ground Road Bridge project complete and the remaining bonds authorized to be issued for finance such projects withdrawn. Representative Black.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. First, I'd like to move and look for a second for a motion to waive the reading of the full resolution.
Second.
Motion on the floor, it's been seconded to waive the reading of the full resolution. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Passed.
Thank you. This motion, some of us were here when we started the School Ground Road project. Some of us weren't. I know there was a bit of sticker shock on some of it. At the time, it was also explained to us that there were a lot of contingencies built into this project. Some of them were well advised, but we still had an excess of this for this project. As we always do, we needed to authorize the full amount of the project, which was nearly $5 million. We did receive grants for this project of approximately $3,250,000, and we borrowed a little under $1 million for the project that put on the town's debt. And that left us with authorized but unborrowed funds of $729,416. So what this resolution does is remove that authorization because the project is complete and we won't be needing that authorization. And obviously, if bonding agencies look at our authorized debt, now it's $700,000 less if we pass this resolution. This passed committee. Last Thursday we met, and it passed 4-0. So I put that in the form of a motion.
Your motion is to approve the resolution of completing of the project, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Approved.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The item carries. Item number 11, to consider and if appropriate, approval request from the Board of Police Commissioners for the following transfer fiscal 2019 budget transfers from parts, $3,319, from regular wages and salaries, $275, from radio communication systems, $2,388, from purchase services, $1,627, for a total of $7,609. 2, furniture, $3,319. 2, accumulated $612. 2, professional development, $163. 2, communications, $2,388. 2, equipment, $1,627, for a total of $7,609. Representative Brackett.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Moderator. Public Services Committee did not meet this past month, so I make a motion to waive Rule 441 for this item.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion to waive Rule 441? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The rule is waived.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. This is a transfer, as you indicated, to accommodate two things. One is finish the furniture for the Deputy Chief's office, and the second is for a new evidence processing table. This is money from fiscal 19 that was left over in those various buckets to be moved to purchase the furniture and to pay for the new evidence processing table. I'll put that in the form of a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion on the motion to approve the transfers? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The item carries. Item 12, to consider and if appropriate, approve a request from the Board of Police Commissioners for the following fiscal 2019 budget transfer from continuing education reimbursement, $10,000, from supernumerary training, $5,320, from regular wages and salaries, $29,200, for a total of $44,520, to ballistic vest, $44,520. Corresponding fund creation and transfer for fiscal 2019 to increase transfer in from general fund, $44,520, and to increase equipment by $44,520. Representative Brackett.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Again, Public Services Committee did not meet this past month, so I make a motion to waive Rule 441 for this item.
Is there a second? Okay. Motion to waive Rule 441 has been seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Rule is waived.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. This money is to purchase 56 police vests for every officer in the police department as part of the personal protection equipment. Currently, policemen have been left on their own to buy their vest over the years. Some of our policemen have vests that are 15 years old or older. The chief was successful in obtaining a grant to pay for half of these vests once he gets the vest. So if we approve this tonight, the $44,000, it'll outfit all of our police officers with state-of-the-art personal protection equipment for vests. And from that point on, the vests will be delivered in approximately 60 days from the date of order. And after that, we'll get the grant money back, which is one half of the $44,000. The plan is to next year's budget to set up a sinking fund with the $22,000 to seed money, and then to add a little bit each year. So at the end of 5 years, when the vests have a life expectancy of 5 years to replace them, there'll be enough money to do it. This is a step in the right direction to outfit all of our officers with the latest equipment, and I put that in the form of a motion, Mr. Moderator.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The item carries. Item 13, to consider and if appropriate, approve a request from the Register of Voters for the following budget transfer from Professional Development, $2,800, from Moving and Storage, $360, from Purchase Service and Repair and Maintenance, $822, from Furniture and Fixtures, $940, from Contingency, $12,003, for a total of $16,925. 2, Clerical Support, $6,000. Election Workers, $7,000. Other Supplies, $2,900. Meal Supplies, $1,025, for a total of $16,925. Representative Alphone?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. This transfer is to cover some of the costs incurred with the change in 2 of the polling places, the community house in Walsh, while they're temporarily being worked on. Notices were sent out to all registered voters in Brantford, so there's an additional cost that they were not anticipating. There is also some funds available to supply meals to all the poll workers due to the fact that they're not allowed to leave the polling place on Election Day. A meal is provided to them. This is included in next year's budget, but it was not included in fiscal year 19's, so there was some additional funds transferred for that. This was approved in committee with a 7-0 vote, and I'd put that forward to the full body.
Representative Black, this committee here, you also?
We also heard it and moved 4-0 to approve it, so I put that in the form of motion as well.
Motion on the floor to approve this item. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries. Item 14, to consider and if appropriate, approve a request from the Director of Elderly Services, Canoe Brook Center, for the following fiscal 2019 budget transfer. From Office Supplies, $964, from Purchase Service and Repairs, $1,225, to Furniture and Fixtures, $2,118. Representative Alphone?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. This is an interdepartment transfer for fiscal year 2019. The funds are being used to purchase new tables and chairs for Canoe Brook Senior Center. The furniture will be brought over to the new community house / senior center. This was voted on in committee and approved with a 7-0 vote, and I'd put that forward to the full body.
Motion on the floor to approve this item. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The item carries. Item 15, to consider and if appropriate, approve a request from the Finance Director for the following budget transfer from fiscal 2019 and fiscal 2020. Current transfer tennis courts, fiscal 2019, from interest payments, $90,000, to transfer out Board of Education Facilities Fund, $90,000. Corresponding transfer to fiscal 2019 to increase transfer in Brantford High School tennis courts, $90,000, and to increase capital outlay Brantford High School tennis courts, $90,000. And We'll do that one first, and then we'll move into 2020. Representative Black?
Yeah. Well, actually, we heard it as one item.
You want me to go, okay,
Yeah.
we'll do it that way? All right, so
Yeah.
then I'll continue with the New Year transfer tennis courts fiscal 2020 from Retirement Board of Education, $162,400, to transfer out Board of Education Facilities Fund, $162,400. Corresponding fund transfer from fiscal 2020 to increase transfer in Branford High School tennis courts, $162,400, to increase capital outlay Branford High School tennis courts, $162,400. Representative Black?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Some of you were here, a little over a year ago, may or may not remember, part of the capital plan was renovation of the tennis courts for the Board of Education. There was some discussion on that. The plan was to do it as debt. No bonding authorization was ever issued, but due to some confusion in the Finance Department, a purchase order was nonetheless cut, and the $252,400 expended. So this is basically to cover up money that's already been spent for a project that was never authorized. I know that, the Education Committee did do some, site visits, et cetera, to see the condition of it. But, it never came back to us for a bonding authorization or other funding. Again, the Finance Department kind of had some miscommunication, and the Board of Ed was chomping at the bit to get going. I don't think they really understood that it wasn't really likely to get their funding till their summer vacation was mostly over, if it had been set for debt. But that's where we are now. So the committee heard this last Thursday and voted to approve this 3-1, so I put that in the form of a motion.
Is there a minority report on this, and the one person, no?
That was me, but.
Okay. Motion on the floor to approve this transfer. Any discussion on the motion? Representative Toohill?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Just wanted to mention that the courts are in heavy use. They came out really nice. The kids are using it, and it's a great facility. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the transferring of the items signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries. Item number 16, to consider and if appropriate, approve various fiscal 29 budget transfers from the Finance Director. First one is Human Resources. From wages and salaries, $14,727, to seasonal part-time help, $14,077, overtime, $650. Representative Alphone?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. The budget adopted last May approved the HR director position fully funded. However, the director's position remained unfilled until January. Joyce Forte, the previous HR director, filled the position on a part-time basis. This is just a housekeeping item to move the wages from the full-time salary to a part-time account. And this was approved in committee with a 7-0 vote.
Motion on the floor to approve this item. Any discussion on that? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries. Next one, tax collector.
Excuse me, you want to do like 16A, 16B, so we can number them? They're not numbered.
Oh, okay.
I did tax collector, but
Okay. They're not all the same. They're not all the same committee, so we're going to do 16A for the first one, 16B for the second one.
That was 16A, we passed that one. Now 16B will be the tax collector. From wages and salaries, $4,700. From contingency, $12,764. To seasonal part-time help, $4,700. To accumulated $12,765. Representative Alphone?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. This transfer covers the contractually mandated payout of accumulated sick time. Additionally, we hired our former tax collector to provide some additional support and training for a staffing shortfall caused by a vacancy and extended leave. This was approved in committee with a 7-0 vote.
Representative Black, your committee hear this also?
So Ways and Means also approved this unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Okay, motion's on the floor to approve this item for tax collector, item B. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries. Item C, GGB, from wages and salaries, $15,934 to accumulated sick, $15,934. Representative Brockett.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Moderator. Public Services Committee didn't meet, so I would ask that put a form of motion to waive Rule 441 for 16C for GGB.
A second.
Motion has been seconded. Any discussion on the motion?
Just very quickly, Mr. Moderator.
Yes.
I believe that the next two items could also be covered by this same motion, if we would like to do that, and maybe amend the motion of waive 441 for all of them.
Is engineering into?
Well,
Yeah, they're all three are
yeah,
public
they're
services.
all public service. Well,
Sure.
at your suggestion, we said you
Yeah.
want to do CD.
Okay, we'll do
so
CD.
CD, so let's do C. We're on C.
So this is mandated sick leave payout.
Well, we gotta,
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, there's
let's,
a motion on the floor.
motion on the floor to waive Rule 441. It's been seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Representative Brockett.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. This is a accumulated sick leave payout per the collective bargaining agreement for an employee that left GB. I put that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Been seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Item C carries. Item D, Public Works, from wages and salaries, $56,200 to accumulated sick, $56,200. Representative Brockett.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I ask in the form of a motion to waive Rule 441 for this item as Public Services Committee did not meet.
Is there a second? Somebody?
Sorry.
Second, okay. Motion on the floor to waive Rule 441 has been seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, item carried.
Thank you,
Representative
Mr.
Brockett.
Moderator. This is the same issue for Public Works, contractually mandated sick leave payout for an employee that's no longer with the department, and I put that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Motion on it has been seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Item E carries. Now we go to F. Tax appeals and other legal from contingency.
Excuse me, Mr. Moderator, there's
Yeah.
one more, engineering.
Oh, did I miss that one?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
16E.
Yep, okay. Engineering from wages and salaries, $1,700 to accumulated sick, $1,700. Representative Brockett.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Again, Public Services Committee did not meet this past month, so I have a motion to waive Rule 441 for this item, please.
Second, okay.
Okay.
Motion to waive Rule 441 has been seconded. Any discussion on that? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Item is waived.
Thank you, Mr.
Representative
Moderator. This is the same issue as the previous two. This is a contractually mandated sick leave payout for an employee that left the engineering department in the amount of $1,700, and I put that in the form of a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion to approve? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Item E carries. Now we go to item F, tax appeals and other legal. From contingency, $150,000 to legal, $110,000 to tax appeals, $40,000. Representative Black.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Ways and Means heard this last week, voted 4-0 in favor of this. It's tax appeals. Some of these items are always hard to budget for, but finishing up some expensive tax appeals here. And the legal fees, primarily it's shoreline shellfish at $15,423. The Zawalik property by Tabor, $8,069 in legal fees on that. The Zoning Board of Appeals had a couple of expensive cases that were about $6,000 each. Parkside is one of the big ones, of course, $37,336, and Crescent Bluff, $43,509 in legal fees on Crescent Bluff. Again, these were approved 4-0 in committee, so I put that in the form of a motion.
Motion on the floor to approve this item. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Oppose? Item carries. One no vote. Representative Toohill? Representative Stepanik? Have that? Tom? Okay, we move on to item G, debt service interest from interest payments, $280,000 to $125. 2, interest general, $85,955. 2, interest schools, $194,170. Representative Black.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. When we pass our budget, we generally put all of our interest into one pot and then see where we want to, how we want to divide it up based on the bonding for the actual year between the town side obligations and the BOE side obligations. So this is just really an accounting measure to take that general pot and make it specific as to which interest is supporting the town side of the budget and which interest is supporting the school side of the budget. So we heard this last week and approved it 4-0, so I put that in the form of a motion.
Motion on the floor to approve this item. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries for debt services. Item H, municipal insurance from property insurance, $17,000. From contingency, $23,000. 2, insurance damage, $40,000. Representative Black.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. This is, you know, often with insurance claims, we have deductibles. Sometimes we get reimbursements as well, but that shows up on the revenue side of the ledger. So these transfers are to cover claims against the town, and I think there were some motor vehicle accidents as well for replacement vehicles. Again, we heard this in committee, approved it 4-0, and so I put that in the form of a motion.
Motion to approve the item. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Item H, municipal insurance is passed. Item 17.
Mr.
adjournment.
Moderator, I'd like to call a recess. We need to have a discussion with the first selectman and leadership.
I'll second the
Okay.
motion.
It's on an item on
Recess,
it.
okay.
We have to discuss.
We got recess.
The 5 minutes. Or just wait. Only after.
Okay, there's just also on item 15 on the tennis courts thing there, I understand, that on the no vote, I believe it was Representative Toohill and Stepanik. Does anybody else vote no on that? That was it? That was the only?
legal, not tennis courts.
The legal,
The
right?
tennis
I
courts
mean, the
had a
legal.
different set of people.
It was just the two people that voted no?
Correct.
For the legal. Oh, wait a minute, now you're putting your hand up.
Mr. Moderator, just to clarify, there were 3 no votes on the tennis courts.
And you were one of them?
I was one of them. Representative Wells,
Wait a minute,
Representative.
no.
They were, they blew by it.
Who voted no on that? Raise your hand. Okay.
Good, there's
We
only
got
4.
black over there, too.
They sounded louder than 4.
Black.
Okay.
Kenya.
Okay, now I just, on the, just for clarifications too, item 7, the summer, the approval for the Summer Island for $25,000, the administrative services approved. The full, for some reason, the full resolution wasn't submitted. We will vote on the full resolution at the next RTM meeting.
Special meeting, so you can't add it.
Yeah, just to cover it. Back to item 17, adjournment.
We
Is there a
sure-
motion to?
Claire's not here.
Oh, Ray. Ray,
I'll second.
Representative Dunbar, you want to second?
Who seconded? No, who made the motion? Who seconded? Mark?
Mark. Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned.
This program was brought to you in part through the support of the Town of Brantford. Watch town meetings and other videos on demand at BrantfordTV.org.